Hey guys, this is Forte. It's November 4th, 2021. This video will be an educational video on showing you guys how I trade. How do I find charts to trade, right? This video will most likely not get a lot of tractions because what people love, what human nature love is patterns, right? This video has nothing to do with pattern. I'm going to show you guys how I see the chart, where do I see the supply and demand, and how do I decide where to buy the stock. Okay. I hope this video, the reason why I told you guys what date, what year this is, because I'm hoping this video will be timeless. Down the road, 10, 20, 30 years ago. As of right now, we might be not getting a lot of views, but in 2050, 2040, perhaps people will come back and watch this video and learn about how to trade. Because I do not think that AIs will take over trading. That's just my opinion. I don't think that will happen. I think human nature actually has a win on this one. And let's get going. And how this video, I'm going to show you guys examples of the stocks that I am currently in and I'm going to use them and tell you why I bought them. Now, these stocks, some of them has moved, some hasn't. I'm not going to show you guys stocks that has moved 100% already and show you guys, oh guys, this is where I bought it, when I first started trading a couple years ago, I hated when YouTubers do that. It doesn't make sense. Number one, viewers don't know that. No, viewers don't know if it's true. Number two, it just literally looked like you're bragging the fact that look at this. It's to me it's just too much, right? So I'm gonna show you guys examples of stocks that I'm currently in. Most of them haven't moved because I got in last week and this week. And for swing trading, day trading, it works for position trading. I think my idea of trading, my way of finding charts, works in every time frame. Let's start with I'm going to show you guys, like, these are the examples I'm going to present to you guys today. We got Box, EB, BYD, HPQ, TOL. Let's just straight up get into the chart, and I'm going to show you guys where the supply and demand is. Okay. Now let's start with EB, Eventbrite. So we can see it's a stock I literally just got in today, right here, right? It's a whole new position. Now, why do I like this? What makes me want to pick this relative to other stocks, right? Number one, don't look at patterns. The first thing you want to see are the moving averages, because the moving averages, like the reason why we go from this is the daily chart to the weekly chart, is to cancel noises. The daily chart noise is where it makes these crazy candles and stuff. We want to cut that all out, and you look at the weekly chart. And the moving averages, they're another voice cancellation sort of thing, right? The most important ones are three that's really popular in America, so you want to use them because most people are using them. It's 20, 50, and the 200 line moving averages. Now, what you want to see is that the charts, the price is above it, or the moving averages, or both, or the moving averages are on an uptrend. We can see that it's literally going up right now. And that is the first thing you want to see. Okay, the stock is on uptrend. The only problem I see is that the 30-week moving average, right? If I look on the weekly chart, the 30-week, 20, 30, 40, and 10-week moving average just are also important. The 30-week moving average is actually going down and sort of flattening out. So that's pretty much the only concern that I have, right? And but you have to keep in mind these are just data, and a week or later, they started. The data move real time. So 30 days ago was right here. So every single week, the 30-day moving average, 30-week moving average start to go up. Anyways, sorry, I'm like getting off tangent. But number one thing you look at is the moving averages. Are they going up or are they going down? I think it's really easy. Anybody can look at this objectively and see, like, okay, the blue line is trending upwards, right? Therefore, the stock is on an uptrend. That's number one, trend identification, right? That's the first thing. Number two, is the stock extended, right? That is pretty. It's. I think it's really objective. I think the most easiest way for me is to understand where the consolidation is at, so where the base is at. Now I'm gonna come back to this later. Let's talk about supply and demand real quick. Okay. We're gonna start with EB. So we know that the chart IPO'd in 2018. So this is where at IPO they opened at around 30, 38, $40 price, right? And the stock has started going on this downtrend, right? Stock went down, formed a little base right here, and it broke down, went even further, and then formed another base right here, and then got up a little bit, and the stock failed again, right? So now we know that we have buyers, we have people that bought the stock here, 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 and at the IPO, right? These are the potential supplies that if the stock wants to have an easier move to the upside, we need to be able to basically let these supplies, liquefy itself. Now, how do we do that? We do that through downtrend, shaking people out, and time, which is long-term consolidation, right? So let's take a look at the stock. So the stock is basically on its stage 4 downtrend. If you don't know what stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 are, just go do a quick Google, see stock market stages. It's really, really easy. Investopedia can also tell you about it. So the stock has been on this level, what is it? On the downtrend, level 4 downtrend, and then entering to level 1 consolidation, right? And the stock went on an uptrend. Now, this area, which is what I call the bottom, right? I don't buy that. I don't know a lot of people buying it. Like buying here is really risky because what if the stock is not out of the level 4, stage 4 downtrend and it starts to go down, right? You don't know about that. So you want to wait for trend to to confirm, right? Now you also don't want to buy the stock right here because the stock also made a move, right? From basically almost a 100% move in a span of like 5 to 6, 7 weeks, and then a couple weeks of consolidation. Maybe perhaps you can say it's a buy, but here's the problem: if you buy the stock right here, right, we're heading into where the original supply used to be. So people that bought stocks right here, you know what they want to do after holding the stock for almost a year and a half actually. They want to basically break even because when you're losing money, the stock has gone down almost 60, 70%. Portfolio is down. You don't like it. The last thing you want to do is to ever hold this thing for any longer. So the moment the stock went up to their break even price, they want to break even. That is the cycle. That's the psychology of basically there is a lot of supply right here. And is the buyer strong enough? Do we have enough demand to push the stock higher? Probably not, right? Therefore, the consolidation happened. And this is what we want to see, actually. We still don't want to buy this thing yet. This is what we want to see. So around the early 2021, the stock made a move higher, broke where the supply used to be, and it immediately failed, which tells me that this area now is serving as what they call a resistance. What I just call it, where basically the stock got really aggressive, head into the supply zone, and we have a sell-off. That's all I see. And now here's the thing. Now, how strong are the supplies in this area? How are they gonna how strong are they going to affect the stock? If EB hit this when extended and it head into the supply zone and it completely failed, we will never consider this thing to be even tradable, right? It's just dead. It's a dead stock. There's too many supplies, and there's no reason to trade it. But the thing is that the stock only pulled back right here about 34%, which is quite a lot actually. That's one reason it's not like a S tier trade for me. It pulled back quite a bit, right? To basically what the pullback really means on the sellers and buyers, definition is to we liquidate the supplies right here by pulling back and consolidating. So now the stock is it's been on a downtrend and consolidated a little bit. Now our job is to figure out when is it going to start to go up again? Because now that we know that it has cleared this supply zone right here, now if the stock is able to recover soon, the next area of supply will be right here, right? So this is why I don't want this thing to pull back way too much. If it's pulling back only to 20, 25%, usually people are willing to hold this thing through the supply zone. But the EB has pulled back almost, let's say, it's pulled back like 36%. Therefore, Therefore, the chances are that this supply might be, important. It's up to you to decide. And to me, yeah, it's pulled back a little bit too much. Therefore, I don't have a full size position in this, but I do have a position because potentially the supply right here is not as important because we already got the important ones out of the way. So perhaps this one potentially we don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows after the fact. So this, I believe that the supply is not that important. Therefore, I took a position. So if this thing were to go up, we're most likely not going to handle this area of supply again. And then if we do go into a little bit of consolidation right here, you know, and then we clear that in a short period of time, very likely we see the stock head into this area where the next supply zone is, which is at $32. Right? And this is really close to IPO. So if the stock is able to penetrate through that, most likely we're going to head into all-time high. And this supply from the IPO is actually not as strong as this one here because number one, it's about 2 years ago. So time is important because the longer it is away, the weaker it is because people that bought the stock around this area, gone through pullbacks here, consolidation here, another pullback. Like price and time will wear them out for these people to take a loss on it. Sometimes they just sell it. So very likely there will be some supply. I don't think it will be that strong. So potentially this thing can start heading to all-time high if we can easily survive this area of supply. And I look at this, I see, okay. So the risk are, the reward is this thing heading to all-time high and breaking through all that. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna have my stop right here because I think it's on an uptrend. I have really tight stops, so you do you. If you guys are really long term, can put it down here. But it just doesn't make sense to me to have something, like for example, me buying it right here, having my risk, let's say down at this candle, right? So the risk right here is $1.69. For if this thing were to break all time high, it's $18. So the risk to reward about 14.6 to 1, right? It's ridiculous. That's the type of trade I want to take. And then when it comes to buying and selling on the intraday on daily chart, watch my other videos or it's a completely new different topic I'm not going to go into today. So yeah, let's talk. And that's for EP basically. We can see that today the stock has got going and came all the way down, right? Came all the way down. Now it's important to see if the price can hold. These are intraday movement, a lot of noise, and it is what it is. But overall, if you want to swing trade or day trade, you want to make sure that it has a good weekly chart. This is what I call a good weekly chart. And then you look at the daily chart. It has a good daily chart. And then you decide to buy this thing on the 30, 60, or 15-minute chart, right? You want to look at it on the bigger picture because I like to use a tree analogy. If you just look at a tree, right? In like let's say you're on an island and there's a lot of trees on it, and you're looking at one tree, and that tree looks completely fine, which you're cool. But little do you know, if you zoom all the way out, the entire island, like the tree is on fire. But you wouldn't know because you're only looking at one tree. You want to look at the whole thing, overall, right? It's 11:13 p.m. right now, so I'm still trading right now. So I'm sorry for making video in the middle of this. Give me just 1 second. Looking at it. Okay, let's go through the next one. Next one I got is Box. Let's take a look at Box. This is a chart of Box, and I have a position right here. I just bought it in today, basically. Now, here, this is a chart that's quite different from EP, actually. EP looks like this, Box looks like this. Now, there's one thing in common, is that it's on this long-term consolidation since 2015. It's been 6 years since the stock IPO'd, and the stock has made move coming down, but overall, it's in this little box right here. We can see, right? And the reason why I like this one is many people are afraid to touch this because they're gonna be like, well, the stock is in this range, it's not gonna break out of it. Well, that's not true. Number one, you have to look, like I said, supply and demand. This stock is only 10% away from all-time high. The moment we break all-time high, supplies are out of the way, right? Then we'll have endless demands and no supply. That's why you want to buy stocks into all-time high. You don't want to buy stock as a dip lower, buying the dip. It's gonna literally go lower and lower and more into the dip. You just have no idea. Uh, Give me a second. Sorry, guys. Important text. Okay. Sorry about that. Something important came up. Let's talk about let's talk about supply and demand on this stock, right? Number one, let's just straight up look at it right here. The stock made a move all the way to $29. So now we know that that's where the initial supply will be at because the stock starts selling off right here. So people bought here will be always losing money, basically, right? If they let's say if they don't like buy it around this area and they just only bought around this right here, they're losing money. So that's the first level of supply. The next one, so how do I see this is that the stock went down and then made a move to the upside, and this upside right here is really close to where the previous supply is at, and then we have a huge sell-off, meaning that the supply here are breaking even. Now the sell-off continues, and then we start consolidating and may even lower low. Now the stock came all the way up to here, right? It's hard to see. Let's use just draw circles. The stock came up to here, and this is close to where the previous supply are that bought, that got screwed over by the supply from the all-time high, basically. And we enter another sell-off, but this time the stock didn't pull all the way down. Like I said in the previous idea, the stock made a move, and if it failed completely, we'll never consider it. This one, matter of fact, didn't fail, right? And the stock, it did fail, but it pulled back about 27%. I actually had a position right here, unironically. I did have a position actually back in the days. I don't have it anymore, but I made a move up here. And I think I was out around this area. Anyways, the stock made basically didn't pull back as much. And now I'm gonna show you guys real quick. If you guys look at a chart like this, will you buy it? You guys wouldn't, but I did because of supply and demand. I understand how it works, right? You guys are gonna be like, well, this thing is just chopping. No, it's not chopping. It actually will make moves. Anyways, let's go back. So that was a buy. That was about, I think that was a while ago during like this really early this year, and now that form another supply actually, and the now this is actually good because this move right here, like you guys can see, because the stock didn't pull back as much, this move easily broke the previous high. So the supply right here, because of how little it pulled back, about only 20%, it's not as strong as the previous ones, where the stock pulled back more than like 30-40%, right? So we easily broke that. Now the stock only pull back a tiny bit and it starts going up again, right? And it started basically forming this base. Now we started, basically zooming into the stock. The stock made a high right here, pulled back down, went up, went back down again, and then broke the previous high. So what I'm seeing right here is that the previous supply this one already got knocked out by basically by this one. This one got knocked out by this one. And now this one is currently being tested. Most likely we're going to break it because we're also surviving at where the all-time high is. Therefore, the supply from the all-time high is weak. So I think that once we break that and then going to $29, $30, this stock can just get going right into all-time high and making new highs, right? And because of how long it has consolidated, the move will be quite powerful, right? I got a position in, but it seems like the market is not doing so. Let me take a look. Seems like the stock that I got in are not doing hot today, but they haven't hit my stop yet, so I'm not out. So I'm still in it, right? Second, I am still in it, yes. Now, if I get kicked, that doesn't mean the stock won't move higher. It just means that I timed it wrong. That's all that there is to it, right? For example, let's go back to the previous one, EB. I have a really tight stop because this thing gapped up, and I have my stop at the low of the day. We're really close to get kicked out, and that is trading. That is what it is, right? I'm used to it. Let's go to the next example. We got BYD, right? BYD is another kind of a different weekly chart. You see, I'm showing you guys these different examples to show you guys the different types of setups that I like to buy. BYD, here you go. This is really different because the stock is already near all-time high right now, and it has made this move since last year's March, about like 100, just kidding, 1,000% move, right? Anyways, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it on the weekly chart. Let's use the monthly. It's easier to see. So the stock IPO long ago in 1993, I think it's a casino stock. You know, made this huge move in the from 01 to 06, and then the crash from 07 destroyed it. And then after the March from last year, 2020 was a phenomenal year, right? People made a lot of money, and it's not normal. You have to keep in mind the year like that. You know, could be a sign that we're heading to a big bear market. Anyways, how do I see this? This one is actually really simple. You know, you can take a look at it as supply and demand and all that stuff and throw. But this one is really just the stock made a big move, and how much did it pull back? It pulled back 29%. Now, where did it pull back to? It pulled back to where it used to make the all-time high, which is when in 2004 and 2007, right? And that area now, we don't know if it's resistant. Like people could be selling this thing in the what is it? In early what is it? March of this year, and be like, well, there's resistance to the left, like but this thing just shoot right through it, and it made another good 27% above it. It does not matter. Not that it does not matter. Resistance and support does. They're not resistance and support until after the fact. So only in hindsight, if they're resistant to support. So BYD, this is this now, the previous high, I'm not going to call it resistance because there wasn't resistance. The previous high is acting as a support. So what I'm saying is that now that supplies are gone out of the way, now the previous high is showing as demand, and people wants to buy more of this thing as it comes down to where the high used to reside, right? And that's about it. And the moment we head to all-time high, there's basically no supply to the left. I think this thing will move higher. That's really all that there is to it. Now it's about timing it. Now that's for another video, right? I'm just going over the overall general on picking stocks. Another one I want to show, I have two more. HPQ, right? HPQ, I think this one is really, really similar to BYD, right? We're in the early stage of stage 2. The stock is on a downtrend. And, we can draw trend lines, be like, okay, every time it makes a high like that, the stock goes down. And then now we're breaking through that, meaning that the supply is getting lower and the demand to buy the stock is breaking through all of that. The only problem is that we still have a high we need to break through, right? The stock can really get put in really big moves after it breaks into all-time high, which is the high right here. So that's the only supply. And now for the short term, I said the last 5 months, the supply is pretty much, they're gone from this consolidation. Like I said, time or price will correct the supplies. So I realized, HPQ will be a good buy. And then you zoom down to the daily chart where I bought the stock was actually right here. Supply and demand works on all time frame. The reason I bought it right here and not as it breaks right here, same thing, supply and demand. Same thing that I'm talking about on the weekly chart, apply it to the daily chart and realize what I'm talking about is literally the same. And I've been trading like this for a couple years. Next one is TOL. TOL, once again, this is actually exact same thing as BYD, right? Previous high is now showing as support, and now the stock is in the middle of it's in this consolidating, but the thing is that it's made a higher low actually. So I think this thing could just get going. Higher low just means that the demand right now is stronger than supply. As the stock goes down, we don't need to test the previous low anymore. We just immediately am able to find buyers, right? And once we clear this zone, this is where you have to. So right here, this is a good thing. You might be like, well, there's two supplies right here. Not really. The stock made a move to the upside and found sellers. sellers mostly came from, the high that I made earlier this year, around 68.88, and now we have a test of that, and stock came back down. Now if we're able to break through the high that I made just last time, very likely the stock is going to break into all-time high, right? And we have strong evidence that the buyers are showing up from the previous resistance. I call it resistance right now because we actually had the stock went all the way up over here at the beginning of 2020, and then we had a big sell-off. Now that could be the March sell-off, obviously, really could be. The March obviously affect a lot of markets, but you know, or you can just look at this right here. Even the previous high right here showed as resistance because the stock went all the way up there, and then we had a big sell-off down, right? But now those resistance are actually showing as support because if I were to zoom out and draw a box right here, which you can see this is where the buyers show up in the on the really in this year basically, and this is where I decide I want to trade this stock. Okay, and I hope this video helps you guys. Might be a bit confusing for some of the concept that I am describing, but if you have any questions, make sure to check the description. Click on the Discord link, right? That I have. It's free. Anybody can join. We have a lot of new traders that joined half a year ago, and now they're finding really decent setup. Some have been making money a lot in the last 2 months, basically. But we are in an easy market, so please be caution. Join Discord, ask us questions, and somehow if I'm there, I'll answer it for you. Follow me on Twitter on twitter.com/fortecharts, and see you guys in the next video.